What's Going On Seville was made possible through donations and services provided by Yellow Cab, Hollywood Theater Lab, Lighthouse Studio.
What's Going On Seville? I'm your host, Lana Young. Michael Mckee from the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank is with me tonight, and he's going to talk about the rising rate of hunger in Charlottesville, who it affects, and how the food bank is here to help. I think some of the statistics will surprise you. I want to say a big thank you to Yellow Cab for their generous donation. Without it, this episode would be impossible. Yellow Cab is the newest fleet of taxis in Charlottesville. They are high-tech, they are environmentally friendly, they're hip, and they are here to serve. Take a look. So I have Roger Voisinay and Will Vanderlinde, the two of the owners of the Yellow Cab. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello. Hello, Lana.
Thanks for coming out.
You're welcome.
So tell me a little bit about the Yellow Cab Company. How many cabs do you have on the road right now?
Well, originally there was 46 cabs, and they're being replaced in increments of 20. So right now there's 20 new hybrid Hyundai Sonatas on the road, and we have orders for 30 more.
Excellent. So you are the only cab company in town right now that are saving the environment, I know, with the hybrid cars.
Correct.
Yes. So what other high-tech things do you have up your sleeve with the Yellow Cabs?
Well, other things that are like helping with our environmental consciousness is our new data dispatch system. So now when you call into Yellow Cab, or like we'll talk about in a second about our new data dispatch, you will get the closest vehicle to you, where before vehicles would travel long distances to come reach you at your location. But now a cab may be right around the corner and be right to you quickly. So this saves time and gas.
I love that, because I remember the days when I would have to wait forever for a cab. And now they can say, okay, we know where you are, we see this cab, and it's coming to you now.
Exactly.
And how far-reaching is your service?
We travel to Richmond to pick people coming into the airport of Richmond, up to Dulles, and over in the valley. So we can travel quite a long distance just to take you to your destination.
So tell me about some of the little gadgets you have inside the car.
Well, there's a Taxi Magic monitor in the back seat, which allows you to swipe your credit card, should you so desire, and you can even check email, and there's some advertisements for various local businesses as well. And then the driver has a tablet computer as well, with its GPS monitoring system with its mapping software. So the driver knows where everyone is, and then the dispatcher back at headquarters knows where the driver is.
That's brilliant. It's sort of the future, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So how does someone get a job with Yellow Cab? I mean, that sounds like a pretty cushy job.
There's some very strict requirements.
I bet it is.
Well, the nice thing is about all of our drivers, they're entrepreneurs themselves. They're independent contractors. They make their own hours. They essentially pay us for the service of providing this equipment and the dispatch services and promoting them. So if you wanted to drive, come down and talk to us.
Oh, okay. I will. Do you guys mind? Okay, I really have to get to the high-tech stuff. So you guys are so cutting edge, you have an app.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about your app?
Well, it's really interesting because this app, you may have heard about it. It's one of the most popular apps in the Apple App Store, but it's also available on Android and BlackBerry. It's called Taxi Magic, and Taxi Magic was founded by a group of alumni from University of Virginia, which is very exciting. So we've been working with them to bring it to their alma mater.
Is it just for you guys?
Well, no.
Or is it going to be technology for...
It's in 50 cities around the United States right now. We will be, they're moving very quickly, and they, of course, want it in their colleges, universities, town. So we are one of 6,000 cabs that are now using it. Well, 46 of 6,000 cabs that are now using it. So it's very interesting.
Can you show us how it works?
Yep. So you will open up the Taxi Magic app, select Taxi Magic. You can use a GPS or previously assigned addresses within your favorites.
Okay.
And you select your address, and it will send your location into dispatch, which will then send it out to a cab, and very shortly you can watch the cab come on a map to you.
Are you kidding?
That's the
you
biggest.
can track the car.
Yeah, that's the biggest frustration with riders is that they call back in. Where's my cab at? Where's my cab at? Well, if you
Right.
can visually see where it's at, there's no need to call back in.
Is there like a James Bond theme that plays while you're tracking your
yes,
cab?
exactly.
But you do get a text confirmation, so
Yes.
that you know they've gotten your order.
Sounds great. Now, just quickly before we wrap up, Yellow Cab has some history of being high-tech, right?
Well, Yellow Cab was started in Chicago by the Hertz family in 1913, and right away he was a technological leader. First guy to use balloon tires for safety and comfort. First guy to use windshield wipers, rear seat belts, and anti-lock brakes. And of course, the yellow color itself was a choice he deliberately made for safety and visibility. And that's why you'll see the yellow in the logo of Hertz rental car.
Excellent. So it's really a good...
That's like the parent company, but there's no connection legally now.
And here's our cab now.
Oh,
Came right on time.
hello. Wonderful. And that's the app in action.
You're right.
That's fabulous. Hello. Well, thank you so much for coming out tonight, you guys. I really appreciate the time, and thanks again for sponsoring our show on the Food Bank tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Glad to help.
Glad to help.
Excellent. All right, well, stay tuned. Up next is Michael Mckee from the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. Stay tuned. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you, Lana.
Michael Mckee from the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. You are the, now this is a mouthful, okay? Chief Planning and Philanthropy Officer, Director.
That's right. So
Did I get that right?
More or less. What I do is I have planning and fundraising for the food bank.
Wonderful. So let's just start there. Let's start with a simple definition of a food bank, because I think some people may confuse it with a food pantry or a soup kitchen. Tell me a little bit about that.
The Blue Ridge Area Food Bank is essentially a hub. So we acquire food, mostly donated food from around the country, from national food manufacturers and grocery stores and community food drives, and we buy food. But it's coming largely from the eastern half of the United States. We bring it to our warehouse in Verona, out in the valley, and we provide the food to people in need or to agencies that are serving people in need in the valley. And we also move that food over to our warehouse here in Charlottesville, the Thomas Jefferson area branch, as well as to a warehouse in Winchester and in Lynchburg. So we are essentially a hub. We're providing the food to community food pantries and soup kitchens and shelters that directly provide the food to people in need.
Okay, so you've got sort of the spider web going out
That's
there.
right.
So that sounds like a huge operation. How does it all work?
It's big. We cover 12,000 square miles, which is essentially a third of the state geographically, 25 counties. And we're providing food to about 250 partner agencies. So it is a big operation, and we're one of 200 food banks around the country that belong to a national organization called Feeding America. And when you put us all together, we're the third largest charity in the United States.
That's fabulous. Well, congratulations on that. It sounds like a big job. I know that the unemployment rate has sort of declined from 10% to 8%, so that is a good thing. But you're finding that the people in need of food is rising.
It really is.
Why is that happening?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. So when the recession hit, we saw the numbers climb sharply. In 2007, we were providing food to about 58 to 60,000 people per month. And then it shot up in 2008. And today, we're providing food to about 120,000 people a month. Just sit on that number, 120,000 people a month. Now, what's really fascinating to us is last year, it was about 103,000. So we're seeing this sharp increase from 2011 to 12 when the unemployment rate is going down. So what's going on? Well, we realized that in 2008, unemployment was the big headline. People were lining up in front of food pantries, often for the first time in their lives, because they were out of work. Well, now the headline is underemployment. People who had been working part-time jobs, maybe full-time and part-time, and barely making ends meet, lost the work, maybe regained a job, but it wasn't paying what the other job was.
Okay.
They weren't earning as much. They can't make ends meet. And so they are now the near poor, the working poor, people who don't necessarily qualify for any kind of federal assistance like food stamps, but they don't make enough to put food on the table. They're having to choose between putting gas in the car or buying groceries or buying medicine and eating.
Is it possible that these people include people that may have never experienced this before, like middle class?
Absolutely.
So we're not talking about stereotypical people in need of food banks.
That's right. I mean, certainly we provide food to people who have been struggling with poverty for a long time, but what's really different today compared to 4 years ago is the large number of people who are working or were recently working. 73%, nearly 3/4 of the people we serve through our branch here in Charlottesville, report that someone in the home is working. They're doing everything right, but they still need help. And so it's really a matter of this very large population, probably much larger than we ever imagined, who are living on that ragged edge of the middle class. And with the recession, they fell off that edge. And they haven't really gotten their feet back under them. And I think until we really see wage growth and many more jobs come back, we're going to be in this situation seeing an increasing number of people year over year, even though unemployment is going down.
So just on sort of an emotional side, do you get to see how that has affected these people that are sort of newly in this position?
It's fascinating. I've talked with people who say, a year ago we were actually donating to the food bank. We can't believe we're in this situation. And you see the pain on their faces, and you sometimes see embarrassment, especially among men. I'll sometimes see the dad sitting in the car and the mom and the kids coming in because it's really difficult for him to come in to a food pantry and collect food. So we're seeing people who are really struggling with what's happened to them, the slide down into a position of needing help. And it is very difficult. The thing that I think I'm struck most by is how often I see people who have obvious disabilities, people who are really struggling with health problems, people who have a lot of difficulty moving around, people who are older. We talk about the most vulnerable in our society.
Right.
And when I visit food pantries and help out, I see a lot of those people, and it is so obvious that these are folks who really are in need. These are not people who have a lot of options.
Right.
And so it's a mix of people who are really struggling with some significant long-term issues, poverty, health conditions, disability, low income, but also a lot of people who are here for the first time and are really wrestling with a lot of emotions about being there.
So what would you say to that man or to the family that feels embarrassment about using the food hub, the bank, the pantries?
Come on in. Everyone's welcome. You'll find you're in good company here. And the other thing I notice is a lot of the people who are utilizing a food pantry are actually also volunteering. I think it's really helpful. They like to come in and help out. They feel as though they're giving back and not just benefiting from the food.
That's really wonderful to know that. I can see how that would work. That would help me a little bit to know that I was giving back while I was taking. Mm-hmm. But you made a little point earlier that I just want to highlight, and that is, people that may have been donating to the food banks are now the recipient of the food banks, and that's sort of a mantra everyone should have. It's like, give now because you never know when you're going to need it.
Absolutely. It's a little like giving blood.
Yes, exactly.
And so, and all of us know people. I mean, we may be in the position ourselves to be just one paycheck away. We certainly know people who are one paycheck away, and that's really key because people who are utilizing a food pantry are often people we know and see in our everyday lives. Yeah,
and so while we're on this subject, I'd love to talk about the misconception of people that use food banks. What would you say the hungry look like in Charlottesville, and how do you assess that?
There is
demographically, or
there is. They look like the whole community. Across our 25 county service area, about 85% or so are Anglo, and the rest racially are mixed. They span the ages. We have a large number of seniors and children who are benefiting from our services, and everyone in between. It's everyone. It's all racial groups. It's distributed across ages. It's a cross-section of the community. And because so many are working poor and near poor, they're people you know. They're the person who collects your dry cleaning at the cleaners. They're the person who waits on you at the restaurant. The person who's delivering your newspaper or mowing your lawn. People who are scrapping together 2 or 3 part-time jobs to make ends meet. Often those are the people who are utilizing a food pantry.
Hunger doesn't discriminate.
It really doesn't.
That's very interesting. Well, I want to talk about your outreach programs because they're really wonderful. And I would love to start with the mobile food pantry or mobile food pantry. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we live in a largely rural area, right? You go outside Charlottesville and it becomes very rural very quickly. And so in some of these more remote areas, like southern Albemarle or Buckingham County, southern Fluvanna, parts of Nelson, there isn't very much access to food assistance.
Right.
The food pantries are few and far between. Maybe they're not open but once a month or maybe twice a month. And so we realized we needed to do more to get food into these underserved areas. So we put it on a truck with a grant from the Perry Foundation and the Charlottesville Area Community Foundation. We purchased a truck specifically designed to be a mobile food pantry. And then we've received support from throughout the community. We take that truck into these rural areas. We partner with local groups and churches who provide the volunteers. The truck looks like a big beverage truck, and we open it up and we take the food out and arrange it around, and people come around like it's a farmer's market style, and they gather the food. And what's really great is we're not only getting food in where there isn't enough, but we're getting nutritious food in.
Now that's important.
Big headline in food banking is it's really more about the produce, and nearly half the food we're bringing in on the mobile food pantry is fresh produce.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's so important because small rural food pantries don't have the cold storage to handle this, right? So we're able to bring that perishable food in, that produce in, and sometimes meat. If we're really lucky, we have that donated to bring in. And we'll distribute about 1 million pounds this year on the mobile food pantry in the Charlottesville area, in the rural counties. And we're serving about 4,800 individuals through these different sites in Nelson and southern Fluvanna, Albemarle, and Buckingham.
And in order to take advantage of that, how would one take advantage? Would they just...
So people in need can look on our website and click on Pantry Locator, and they can find help that way. They can go to their local Department of Social Services and check in there. If they can't find information about the mobile pantry, they can certainly go on our website or call information for the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. Our number is 540-248-3663, and we'll point them wherever they need to go.
That's wonderful. Now, on the topic of fresh produce, now we've got families that are getting all this fresh produce, but maybe don't know what to do with it.
It's really amazing. So, and the produce is important because, first of all, food donations are declining from traditional sources. Manufacturers are a whole lot more efficient. There isn't as much traditional dry food, cans and boxes, right? So that's really declining. Produce is more readily available, so that's good. It's also healthier. We find, though, that many people don't know necessarily how to prepare the food. So we're having to really do a lot of education on the spot at the mobile pantry, and then working with our traditional pantries to help people understand how to prepare sweet potatoes, how to make carrots interesting for kids to eat, what to do with these vegetables. And we're slowly making a lot of headway. So that's really exciting because we're able to improve the nutritional content of the diets of the people we're serving.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think that's one of my favorite programs, and that's the Super Pantry Families Food and Fun. And is that the 4-week? Is there a 4-week course?
It is, and so
I think this is my favorite idea. to give people the education.
It's a great program. We partner with the Virginia Cooperative Extension, and they do a class for families, typically moms and dads, and often just moms, who come in and they learn about how to shop on a budget, because the people we're serving, they're also shopping in grocery stores, as well as getting food from food pantries. So how to shop, how to make your dollars last, how to buy the healthiest food with a limited amount of money, how to cook and prepare food. We find that people often don't have cooking utensils. They can't afford pots and pans, or they don't have appropriate knives to chop vegetables. And it's kind of hard for a lot of us to understand that, but it's really true.
Yeah.
So at the end of the course, they get a box of food, and oftentimes we're able to provide basic kitchen utensils and pots and pans or knives, so that they can take what they've learned home and improve the quality of their diet for their families.
I think that's tremendous. I think that's so important. And how do you offer that to people? Do people know that from your website? I mean, is that a readily known program?
We put the word out through a variety of community groups and churches and the food pantries. So we're drawing from the people we know to be in need,
right.
And it works out really well.
Excellent. Well, there was a statistic on your website. I think it was something like 60,000 children struggle with hunger. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is a huge number. How did you come by that number?
So the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, does research every year through a survey of American households to estimate the number of people struggling with food insecurity. Food insecurity is the name the government created back in the 60s for occasional struggles with hunger. So it's basically it means you don't have the resources to meet all of your food needs at some points during the year. So that is what food insecurity means. Okay. And they do this survey, and they ascertain who's in a given household and the frequency of food insecurity in the household, and the number of children and whether the children are affected. And so working with our national organization, they've estimated what that number is, not only nationally, but by the state and down to the county. So we know what the number is for the city of Charlottesville and the county of Albemarle.
What programs do you have in place to help with children in particular? You've got several, don't you?
We have a number of programs because we realize that hunger affects children in really profound ways. A child who isn't getting enough to eat or proper nutrition is going to develop more slowly. The child will have a slower academic development, probably more problem behavior in the classroom and at school. So if we can provide supplemental nutrition, the child is better able to perform and grow and develop. So we do that through a preschool program called Angel Food, providing take-home snacks, juice, and healthy snacks. But our flagship program is called the Backpack Program, where we provide a child with a backpack full of nutritious food for the weekends and school holidays, so that if the family doesn't have enough, the child has access to a balanced set of meals for Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, plus breakfast, lunch, and snacks in between. Kid-friendly food that's nutritious, pop-top, easy open, easy to prepare food. The child doesn't have much supervision in the home. He or she can prepare the food himself or herself. The child gets that backpack every single Friday while school is in session throughout the school year. Brings that backpack home, back to school that is. It's repacked by volunteers the following week, provided again, and it goes back and forth throughout the school year. It's been very successful. We started that in 2006 with 90 children at a little school out in the valley. We now have 14 schools across our service area with more than 2,500 children participating.
Well, congratulations on the success of the program. This sounds strange, but how is one eligible for that? Because aren't there children that fall just above the poverty line? And is there eligibility?
Exactly. So we focus on schools that have a minimum of 50% free and reduced lunch participation. So that tells us the level of poverty or the number of low-income children is fairly high. So that's our threshold to take the program into a school. And then the schools offer it to all of the families, because across our service area, about a third of the families do not qualify for programs like free and reduced lunch, but they're still food insecure. So about a third of the people who are food insecure in our area don't qualify for federal programs like food stamps or free and reduced lunch. So the schools offer it to everyone. We find that the parents who sign up really do have need, which is good.
So people haven't taken it
Absolutely
for granted
not.
or taken advantage of it?
We've offered people the opportunity to have it weekly or monthly, and some people sign up for monthly because they say, I don't need it every week, and I want to be sure there's enough for others who do.
Great.
So that's always very encouraging to see.
Yeah, that is fabulous. And then you also have summer feeding.
Yes, so when school's out, sometimes that means no lunch and no breakfast, and it's a huge challenge for families who really rely on that for their children. So we step in with partners like the Boys and Girls Clubs and Salvation Armies and other organizations, sometimes schools, to provide a free lunch to those children who would otherwise be participating in those school-based feeding programs.
It is just tremendous. I could talk to you about this all night, and we're going to have to start to wrap it up. But most importantly, I want to tell our viewers how they can either volunteer or take advantage of these wonderful services and programs. And we can magically make the website appear if you'll share it with us.
Sure. The website is brafb.org. You can search on Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. You'll find us. You can click on Get Help and find help through our pantry locator in your own community. You don't have to come to the food bank for help. If you want to support the food bank, you can click on Volunteer and fill out a form, and you'll be called. And if you want to make a gift, you can do that online by clicking on the Donate Now button. $1 provides 4 meals to people in need, and 96 cents of every dollar we spend goes right to the programs providing food to people.
That's amazing. Well, thank you very much
My
for
pleasure,
all that
Lana.
you do and
Thank
taking
you.
time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to us tonight, Michael.
Happy to.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of What's Going On Seville, and thank you very much for supporting Kids Making Television. We'll see you next time.
There's a big white ghost in your brain. It's always on time, it's always the same. But after 35 seconds, it's the same. It turns over, turns over, turns over, turns over, turns. He's got from Mississippi for the Saints. I'll attend the service from my car before the service. But lastly, she knows that it's the same. And she knows that she knows that she knows that she knows that. I see that you're grown up, but it's the chip that don't save. Smash the pity penny, but the pity penny just won't save. But you're crazy, so let you know. The crazies don't let you know. You're crazy, so let you know. The crazies don't let you know. Seconds till you know, well, I will never wanted what to hold.